The story of Jerry and the dog. Alright, what I'm going to tell you has something to do with how sometimes it is necessary to go a long distance out of the way in order to come back short distance correctly. Or maybe I only think it has something to do with that. It's the reason that I went to the zoo today and I walked northerly rather, until I came here. Alright, the dog. I think I've told you is a black monster of a beast. An oversized head and tiny ears and eyes bloodshot, infected maybe. And a body you can see the ribs through the skin. The dog is black, all black except those red eyes, and yeah, there's an open sore on its right forepaw. That is red too. And what else? I do believe it's an old dog. It's certainly a misused one. Almost always has an erection of sorts. And that is red too. What else? There's a yellow-grayish thing, white thing, when he bars his fangs like "Arrgh!" which is what he did when he first saw me the day I moved in. I worried about that animal the very first moment I met him. Animals don't take me like St. Francis had birds hanging off him all the time. What I mean is, animals are indifferent to me, like people are, most of the times. But this dog wasn't indifferent. From the very beginning, he'd snarl and then go for me to get one of my legs. Not that he was a mad dog, but he was a quite stumbly one. But he wasn't half-assed either. So it was a good stumbly run, but I always got away. He got a piece of my trouser leg right here. Look where it's mended. He got that the second day I lived there. But I kicked free and ran upstairs, so that was that. I still don't know to this very date how the other roomers managed it. But you know what I think? I think it has only to do something with me. Cozy. Anyways, it went on for a week like that whenever I came in and never when I went out. It's funny, or it was funny. I could pack my bag and start living on the street for all the dog cared. Well, I thought about this up in my room one day after I bolted upstairs from the dog. And I made up my mind, and I decided. At first, I'll try to kill the dog with my kindness, and if that doesn't work, I'll just kill him. Oh, don't react, Peter. Just listen. So the very next day, I went out and bought a bag of hamburgers. Medium rare. No onions, no ketchup. And on the way back home, I threw away all the rolls and kept just the meat. So when I reached the rooming house where the dog was waiting for me, I slightly opened the door. And there the dog was, waiting for me. I cautiously got in. I had a bag of hamburgers, you remember? I opened the bag and set the meat down about 12 feet away from where the dog was snarling at me. Like so, he snarled. He stopped snarling and then he moved slowly, and then faster towards the meat. And then he looked at me and I smiled, benignly, hesitatingly. You understand? Then he turned his face back to the hamburgers and he sniffed and smelled some more, and then like that he turned into that. It was as if he'd never eaten anything in his life before except garbage, which could very well be the truth. And I don't think landlady eats anything except garbage. But he ate all the hamburgers, almost all at once, making sound in his throat like a woman. After he ate the hamburgers, the meat, he tried to eat the paper too. And then he sat and smiled. I think he smiled. I know cats do, but it was very few gratifying moments of my life. And then he made for me again, and then I went upstairs, but he didn't catch me this time either. I went to my room and I lay on my bed. And I started to think about the dog again. To be honest, I was offended, and I was damn mad too. It was perfectly 6 good hamburgers with not enough pork in them to make it more disgusting. I was offended. But after a while, I decided to give it a few more tries. If you think about it, this dog had what amounted towards an antipathy towards me. And I wondered if I might not be able to overcome this antipathy. Anyways, so I tried it for 5 more days, but it was always the same. Snarl, sniff, move, faster, stare, gobble, and then rawr, and smile, and then bam. But this time, the Columbus Avenue was stinking with hamburger rolls, and I was less offended than disgusted. So I decided to kill the dog. Oh, don't be so alarmed, Peter. I didn't succeed. The day I decided to kill the dog, I only brought one hamburger and what I thought was a murderous portion of a rat poison. When I brought the hamburgers, I asked the man not to bother with the rolls and just give me the meat. I was expecting some reactions like, we don't give no hamburgers without meat. What you want to do, eat out of your hands? But no, he smiled benignly and wrapped the meat around a wax paper and said, a bite for your pussycat? I wanted to say no. It's a part of a plan to poison a dog I know. But you can't say a dog I know without sounding funny. So I said rather too loudly and too formally, I guess. Yes, a bite for my pussycat. People started to look up. It always happens to me. Whenever I try to simplify things, people started to look up here and there. So on my way back home, I needed the hamburgers and the rat poison in my hands, feeling as much sadness as disgust. So I reached the rooming house where the beast was. I opened the door, and there he was, waiting for the offering and then jump at me. Poor bastard. He never learned. The moment he took to smile gave me enough time to get out of the range. So anyways, I kept the poison patty down and watched the animal gobble the food down as usual. And then he smiled. Made me almost sick. And then I sprinted upstairs as usual, and then he didn't get me this time as usual. It came to pass that the beast was deathly ill.